Welcome to the Her Voice Shines podcast, where we celebrate the power, brilliance, and resilience of women everywhere. I'm your host, Shanasia Washington. Join us as we share inspiring stories and insights from extraordinary women who have found their voice and are making a difference. Together, we'll create a ripple effect, illuminating the path to visibility and empowerment. Let's break barriers, shatter ceilings, and lift each other up. In each episode, we dive deep into the journeys of women who have turned their challenges into triumphs and their dreams into reality. Whether you're looking for motivation, guidance, or a community that understands your journey, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and remember, let your voice shine. Let your voice shine. You have landed at the Her Voice Shines podcast. I am your fabulous host, Shanasia Washington, streaming from Houston, Texas. And I'm filming this around Christmas time, but it's like 82 degrees outside. So I'm trying to figure out, is this Christmas? Is it summer? Like I got a short sleeve shirt on and shorts. I don't know. Make it make sense, but I'm still happy to be here. And I have a beautiful guest today. And let me just tell you guys, I take like little breaks. I haven't recorded in about a week and a half. And let me just tell you, this second round, like last week and then this week, man, like it's been one of the most listening moments really in podcasting history for me. I feel like I have a very long history. It's only been a couple of years, but my goodness, these women have really come in and shared some really intimate parts, and we do not take it lightly on the show. So I'm going to stop yapping and get to the business. We're going to have our guest come to the stage and tell us her name, where she's streaming from, and we get the magic of her story without any further waiting time. Here's my very beautiful guest for today. Hey, Beth.
Hello, my name is Beth Cacciapalle. I am streaming from Michigan, very, very cold Michigan today. And my story is one of resilience and perseverance. And I won't tell all of the details right now. But yes, we have been in a very long wait for our heart's desire, and it has been met with many challenges, ups, downs, highs, lows, you name it. I have been there in the thick of it, and I'm actually still in the thick of it. And so I pray that my story truly touches the heart of your listeners today, that they resonate with it, that they truly understand that they too can have hope, have faith, and have true joy, even while they're still contending and waiting for their heart's desire, whatever that may be. And so, yeah, I'm excited to dive deep into it a little bit today with you. And I just want to thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And this is going to be a good episode because I can probably personally call maybe 2 or 3 people who are currently in this space and who have recently left the space, but after having a very long journey in this space. So we'll give you some insight into what we're talking about. And I want you to see this message as a message of hope and resilience, because she started off by saying that. And I don't take this place lightly. This is a very intentional space, and I really believe that this is going to help someone I probably personally know. And I won't say that because I want to maintain the integrity of that person and their struggles. But they will watch this episode, Beth. And I want you to know that I want to personally thank you for being here, because I think you're going to help somebody that's close to me. Let's start here, because your desire to start a family began in 2013. We got to do the math. We're in 2025 now. And this journey has started in 2013. Let's start with this, because I think this can open us up to really facilitate some really good questions post this. Tell me about the weight of time and how that shaped you, not just emotionally, but spiritually. Let's start with that as an overarching kind of goal to go into this. So tell me about the weight and how that has shaped you emotionally and spiritually.
The weight has shaped me emotionally and spiritually more than I could have ever thought or imagined. Emotionally, absolutely. Waiting for anything for a long time is emotionally draining. I mean, we are such an instant society. And so to have to wait 10 minutes for your meal is a struggle. To wait almost 13 years for our heart's desire to become parents, for the children that the Lord has told me I will have, it's almost unimaginable. But here we are. And I have grown so much in my emotional state, how I handle things, how I process things. I've gone through inner healing to deal with past things so that I can better handle what I'm navigating now. And then on the flip side, you did ask about the spiritual side. I have grown leaps and bounds in my spiritual journey with the Lord. I think back to 2012 and 2013 when we got married and we gave ourselves, a few months after getting married. And where I was then is absolutely not who I am now. I'm not that same woman. I have towed the line. I have been refined in the fire. And my place with the Lord now, I'm so happy to say this, because for other people, I know it didn't go that way. My roots are so much deeper than what they were. I hear the Lord more clearly now. I sit with him more. I'm more intentional with my time with him. I'm in the word more. I'm more bold to go to him with things and to share my heart and share my feelings and emotions and all the things. I'm bold with other people. I'm very bold with other people. I'm bold with the word, and just I want more. I want more. I want to absorb all the things. And I'm as hard as this journey has been, I am thankful, because I would not be where I am with my walk in the Lord if I had not traversed all this.
Not as it relates to the wait for motherhood, but I am definitely in a place right now as we speak to where if it wouldn't have gotten this hard, I would not be this anchored. And I want to be very transparent in that. If it wouldn't have gotten this hard, if I wouldn't have had so many different failures, so many different no's, I would not be this anchored. And the person, I tell people all the time, 2020 was a transformative year, as with a lot of people in the world with, what was going on during that time. But, I had a deep emotional wound I think I was trying to heal. And I didn't know how to, because I never confronted it. I never really confronted it. So from that time, all these different things have happened that have, appeared to be very good and flowing on the outside, but there still was this deep internal work and feelings of rejection, all these different things that if I had not gone through it, there is no way that I will be sustained and anchored now. And I tell people that from the purest place of my heart. Like, even if I can go back to, at that time, it was kind of a cushy life in terms of finances. Like, had the big job and all these kind of different things. Everything was very cushy because I knew when the check was going to come. I knew all these different things. I wouldn't choose it. I wouldn't. I'm serious. I would not choose it because I would not be this free. Yeah, I can go back there and have all those cushy things and still be confined by my thoughts, confined by the situations, confined by my team, confined. I wouldn't choose that. And what I've become to do now at this stage of my life is that there's so many different levels of gratefulness that have been unlocked, even with the lack. Even with not having the things I want so freaking bad and just not taking off, it's not doing this. There's a level of comfort over me that I can't even explain today. I was like, like, how do you feel? Like, had this been happening back then in 2020, you wouldn't have had the fortitude, baby. You'd have crumbled.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Under everything. So to be here and like, man, it's not really looking like I thought it was going to look at this stage in the game. I really thought I would be a little bit further along. It just seems like so many other people have, crossed this and done this, but here I am just sitting and waiting and, still showing up with all the joy and still showing up to all the things. But you're wondering, like, when is the day? When is the day? But I struggle with it a little bit, but at the end of the day, like, there's a refreshing, like, breath that comes over. It's like, are you okay? With or without this thing, you're still my child, and I still love you, and I won't even love you through this. So it's in that I find myself seemingly being okay in the midst of a storm. And I know, and I would hear when I was younger, I would hear like older people talk about this kind of ideology of, I'm like, what are these people even talking about? And here I come with this middle-aged woman now and really can stand in it, Beth, and own it and be okay with saying, like, it really does not look like anything I thought. And I don't even know the next. For me, it's like at the end of the night, for some reason, I still have some safety. That worry tries to creep up. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, it's just, pie in the sky. But I get a little piece of wind every now and then that says, you know what, Janedra, it's okay. It's really okay. I want to ask you this because when you're waiting, you have to confront. And I talked about this a little bit a minute ago. You have to confront different things. Tell me what's the hardest emotion to confront? Because sometimes maybe anger, it's just jealousy, it's like impatient. I'm not saying that any of these are yours. And how did you bring that in honesty to God? Because people will sit and not be honest with God. Because my prayers say this, Beth, and I mean this. I say, God, I'm tired. I have to be honest because I can't. He knows already, but it's for me to say it out of my mouth. I said, Lord, I am really tired. Like I really think that I'm doing my best to show up every day. I think that I'm doing my best to put it into the world. I think that I'm best of giving this joy. But oh my goodness, like Lord, I am really tired. So I want you to tell me what was the hardest feeling, and it could be similar. And how were you able to bring that in honesty to God?
Yeah, Shanandra, you're absolutely right. In this journey, I have navigated some very low lows, and it wasn't until about 3 years in, and I faced all those: anger, depression, jealousy, envy. But honestly, I think for me and in my walk, the hardest one has been the disappointment. And not just the disappointment of the years, but the disappointment of things that I feel the Lord has directed us to do or try, also not working. We've done different treatments. We've done natural route, spent tens of thousands of dollars on you name it. We've done it, including, medical treatments, IUI, and then most recently we did pursue IVF. And to have none of those treatments work and produce a pregnancy was beyond disappointing. I truly can't put into words. And the only way that I know how to explain how I navigated that and how I truly was honest with the Lord was I just baby steps. I journal a lot. I've journaled a lot in this journey and would cry out to him in my journals. They're tear-stained pages, much like I'm sure a lot of your listeners may have tear-stained pages. And I would write it out. But even in this room, I would weep, just full on, borderline screaming, weeping, telling him, pouring out my heart. And it wasn't always like that at the beginning. It took time to get to that. I don't know why we have this kind of fear of coming with our raw emotions to the Lord, like he can't handle it or something. Like he already knows our emotions. He knows he gifted us with it. He knows exactly what we're thinking and feeling. And we can be real and raw with him and honest. And over time, I've been more and more and more. And most recently in these past few years, I've just been brutally honest. I've said, I don't like this. I hate this. This is not fair. This is, fill in the blank. I've truly poured my heart out. And it was so freeing to truly lay it all down at his feet and let him hold me in a puddle on the floor. And you don't think it's going to result in anything, but I left those moments feeling so much lighter and so much more at peace and more loved. And it just truly, words can't describe the peace that is upon me in where we're at in this journey for what's to come. Like I just have a peace and I can't explain it. It's truly just the Lord.
I totally understand it because I was reading your information and of course it's we don't have the same journey here, but I felt something immensely connected to the weight, right? That was the whole part of me reading. I was like, I feel like I'm in a holding period. Like, Lord, when is the weight over? And I truly, felt that. And for someone, I have a son, he's 8. He had a miscarriage before. Nobody thought I was going to ever even be a parent. Like I, waited 31, 32 years old. I'm the oldest grandchild. All the youngest grandchildren already had, they were like, when are you? They, were popping off 23, 24. And, I toyed with the idea, or not toyed, but I really kept some questions even about becoming like a mother, period. But here's the thing. And I thank God for this. And, you may get some revelation here because had I become a mother at 24, 25, that boy in there would have not had the experience that he has today. Couldn't have given him this pure heart.
Yep.
Couldn't have taught it, Beth. Because let me tell you something. I tell people this. I've said it a couple of times in this podcast. When that boy was in my womb, I wrote letters to him. I wrote letters to that boy in my womb. And the thing about it is that one of those last letters that I wrote, I was declaring all these things over his life. And I hope that you be free in yourself. I hope that you can walk this space and know who you are. It doesn't matter about what you have on top. I just want you to know I want you to know who you are. I'm speaking all these things and I'm writing. And I got to the end of one letter and tears started to roll down. You know why? Because I had not done those things for myself, Beth.
Wow.
I was declaring over this boy. I still have the letter up in the closet. The letter started off very light. You know, mommy is having, just talking. I'm having a very hard time with this project at work. Like I probably shouldn't be eating like this extra hot dog, but it's, I don't know. Just telling him like, hey, I'm okay, but I got some problems, basically. But just telling him like, okay, I'm trying to get it together and all these different things. I wrote one like, hey, we're getting the room together. But that letter, I'm telling you, it changed my life because when I got to the end of it, something came over me and said, baby, you haven't even done that for yourself. And if I'm your father and you're declaring these things why haven't you reached up and grabbed that for you?
So good.
And then I'm telling you, and right around the time when I went back to work after having that boy, all HE double hockey sticks fell apart at work.
Wow.
Fell apart. It's like, I was like, man, now I got this kid, not everything around me, like my whole team is like being laid off. I'm over a team I don't even know. Like, Lord, what is help? What's happening? And it wasn't really until I journaled back to that letter. He said, well, now's the time. He said, are you sitting up here talking about, you want this for your boy? You're not going to walk up right and show him you my child.
Wow.
I said, now, wait a minute. I didn't expect it to happen. Like, what's happening? This is not what I envisioned for myself, Mom. What are you telling me? And he would have never, this mix, and it's not, I have a lot of things to work on, a lot of things, but this level of being able to refine this journey and really love that boy from a pure place. Because I love myself like my father loves me. And had he given it to me too soon, that boy would not be having that experience. But I'm telling you this, I know this to be truth. He would not be having this experience. Yeah. He would not have this experience as a mother. So while it was like, okay, it's a little bit later in the journey. Like right now, here I am with an 8-year-old and my friends, they're doing their kids' college graduations. So I'm like, well, I gotta.
Yep. Same.
The kids are going to college graduations. And I just went to a college graduation or a party of a friend's child. She had this, and, just thinking and even looking at her, like she's such a different person.
Yeah.
And, who she was at the time, good or bad or in between, that's just where she is. But when I think about my journey, I said, my God, he loved me so much.
Yes.
He loved me so much to sure me up for, girl, I will start running. He loved me so much to sure me up for this moment right here. Yeah. And I didn't know that when all this stuff was breaking in my heart, which is breaking, it was just so much waiting. But look at the clarity now. Because if you would have put it in my hands too early, I know I would have fumbled. I know I would have. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the tools, Beth. I didn't have the fortitude. I didn't have it. I didn't. And I don't know, where you are, how you feel, or when you feel like it's a little bit of notch, anchor on, because it's something in there. I even from past years, I would get something like, man, I really tried that for 30, 40 hours. And nothing happened. I wrote a proposal. It took me a week. Beth, I had to call all these people. I thought I had a sure shot. It took me probably 40 hours of man labor to do it. I probably called about well over 60 different subcontractors.
Wow.
Listen, Beth, every day I was tinkering some days at 2 a.m, going through all this jargon, had what I thought was going to be a good goal, was, talking to the people. They were calling to ask me questions. It looked to be a good goal. And they said, no, they went with another firm. They said, no, we went with someone else. But I tried to ask the question, was it pricing? Was it just the operational model, or, how can I be better? And they ghosted me.
Mm.
And then this was spending like lots of time. And I was just thinking like, Lord, I don't know what that was for. Like I could have probably been maybe doing something else. There may have been, this, that, and the third. But now, Beth, it's just like when I see other opportunities, they are breeze. It's probably no time.
Wow.
They're like, well, how do you know all this stuff? I'm like, well, I had to spend 40 hours for a failure.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere. And I have nothing but what people look like is lost. Because I had somebody help design the thing and calling all these people and nothing to quote unquote show for it, right? That's what people see, because there's nothing tangible to show for it. But now when I go and look at I'm not overwhelmed by the paperwork. I'm not overwhelmed by the jargon, any of it. Because he had to take me through that way.
Yeah.
I took you through every nuance. You know who to call. You learned here who not to call. You learned how to tailor your communication to get an answer back. All these things happened when I was up crying at 2 or 3 in the morning. Like, well, I don't even understand. I say, why do I have to Google every word? I don't want to Google. I just want to fill it out. I say, what does this mean? I say, no, I don't want to learn. I just want to do it.
Right. Yeah.
Just do it. I'm trying to negotiate with him, right? It doesn't work. It just doesn't. It does. It doesn't work. I'm like, I don't like this feeling. Like, I just feel like I'm in no man's land because I don't even know what these people are saying. Like, I'm having to Google like every other question. Like, this is really crazy. All these different things. That's how I felt, Beth. I really did feel like that because, like, what? But now, and like people's like, how do you know that? And I'm thinking, like, when I tell people, like, my natural self is this crazy girl, when you see something prolific, know it's him. Because this crazy girl is just who, like, this. But if you, like, anything that you say, oh, Sinead, that was excellent, please know it's God. Please know it's him. And not me. Because if you know me, like, that girl is probably not good. And you'll see something like, huh? Like, what? It's him. I'm just saying. So in your waiting, I mean, please not. And I'm encouraging you I'm encouraging myself. Do not get discouraged in your waiting. Do not get discouraged in your waiting, because I have to tell myself that every morning. And I just was saying, not too long ago, I said, listen, I have felt like in 2025, everything is totally falling apart. I feel like I lost contracts. So I'm like, my grandparents, the level of caregiving that was increased. Got a homeschool child in here. I'm like, I don't know what else can be on the plate right now, Lord. It's really a lot of different things. My vehicle got complete total, and I only had 2 more notes to pay on it. I'm like, what's really happening? Every couple of months or something, this is trial. These are big ones. It's like little ones or whatever. You're thinking you're making, health decisions, and you're talking about, okay, now you got to become a POA, and you got to make. Okay, well, it's a lot. It's a lot in 1 year. It's a lot. I think this year I've lived a lot of life. Like, please, what's going on here? Like, what is this about? What is this about? And to be able to tell you today, we record this on December 22nd. I don't know when you guys will see this, but to tell you, I slept last night in peace. Slept last night in peace. And don't really know. I can't tell you it's the grace of God and his presence. Because the amount of things that are falling apart, the amount of things that I'm having to wake up every day and maneuver, those are very much real. And I don't hide or have shame in that. Because I know that the way this thing is being orchestrated, when it gets done at the end of whatever this is, he will get the glory out of this.
Absolutely.
So I'm taking myself out of that. So do not be discouraged in your waiting. I want to ask you this, because you may need to talk through this even now, because you don't really even have a diagnosis really as to why this wait is taking so long. I think sometimes you get a diagnosis. I'm not saying it makes the situation better, but it's like, well, I have this, so maybe I can, it gives, I don't want to say closure, but it gives something that's like a little bit like, I kind of know I got some issues in here. But when you don't know, there's no diagnosis. I think that's uniquely painful than somebody who does. I'm not saying good or bad. We ain't talking about better or worse. I'm just saying I think it's a uniquely different journey. That's my. Tell me about moving through uncertainty, because right now this is still uncertain for Beth. So tell me what you're doing just to keep moving when everything really still at this point is uncertain.
Shanita, honestly, the way I'm moving forward is one step at a time, one day at a time, and truly by the grace of God. I'm truly just putting one foot in front of the other. I'm pressing into Him. I'm going back, and I was reminded even yesterday, listening to another person sharing their heart, to declare back to the Lord the promises that He's given to us around our children. I have one even right here, and I do my best to read that back and remind Him, Lord, you said this. You were the one who said that we would have children. And so I'm declaring that we will. And it truly has just been a day-by-day process, and just truly to stay anchored to Him and to stay in fellowship with Him, and just, Lord, you're still good. Even when my circumstance doesn't look like it, even when we don't have, a diagnosis for me to like contend and pray and, declare, the opposites, like, oh, if I had XYZ, I could be like, no, Lord, I'm healed of that. And so I kind of take a blanket statement that, no, Lord, we are healthy, healed, thriving. We are perfectly able to conceive and bring forth the children that you have for us and that you have designed and created for us to parent. And that's kind of where I'm at currently. It may not have looked like that in the past, but that's where I'm at currently, just day by day, staying right with Him. I don't want to be ahead of Him in this.
So I love this, and I'm so happy that you're here. I want to ask you what prompted you to start sharing your story with other women, other families, just anyone who wants to listen, because it's a difference. And I still kind of battle with it sometimes, because believe it or not, I'm actually an introvert. People don't believe that about me. They don't believe it. I said, listen, when I come here to my podcast, I give it my all. But after this, I'm going to be in my room, like watching a documentary or reading a book. Like, I don't want to come to the party. I don't want to come to any of that. Like,
I relate to that so much.
I want to be here present and give my guests the best parts of me. But like, we don't have to go to lunch. Like, we don't really have to. Like, I'll try to. We really just don't have to, and it's not any hard feelings of my. And most people that are close to me, they know that. So even when they see me in this space, they're still really surprised. They're like, "What happened?" But this was really a layer of obedience, and I want to get to that next. But I want to ask you, like, what prompted you to say, "Hey, now I'm going to start talking about this and sharing this with other women"?
I started sharing our journey several years ago on a very basic level, and it was more so as an avenue of release for me. Like, yes, I was journaling, but it couldn't be a secret anymore. The enemy loves to keep us isolated, and I just needed to share, not for sympathy or anything, but for awareness. Like, people needed to know. No one in my family, no one in my circle was navigating this. And I'm like, I can't be the only one. And by sharing it more, I actually did get into a whole faith-based community that exists now. And I've been a part of a ministry around this for several years. I think 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years now. And I love sharing it. I love bringing awareness to it, to just help open people's eyes, because this isn't everyone's journey. It may not affect you, but it might affect someone you know, and maybe they're not saying anything. Maybe they're keeping it close to them, and they're secretly hurting. And that breaks my heart to know that there are people out there secretly hurting like I once was. And so, yeah, it comes from a place of wanting to expose this and make it less of a secret and less of a shame. I think the enemy puts a lot of shame on this, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. Like we've talked about, God's going to get all the glory in this. Absolutely. And I'm so excited for that moment when he does that. But in the meantime, I just want people to understand they're not alone. I'm here. I'm a resource. There are other women out there who are a resource. And, you don't have to go through it alone.
Absolutely. And community is so very important. And we talk about it on the show. And the other part of it is that this show has really helped many people see that they are not alone in these journeys. There are very many people that are facing lots of things. The previous guest, we were talking about this, idea of, people going into the room and everybody puts their problems in the middle of the floor. You're probably going to walk away with yours because you never know what people are dealing with. And this podcast, and I said, listen, and I tell people I've met some all-out warriors. I have met people where I could not walk a day in their shoes, Beth. And I tell people, like, I know that it's just personal because it hurts in our journey. It does that. But I'm not saying that you are called to take on the burdens of others. That's not what we're all called to do. But it does make you realize that some people out here fighting some, you got a baby deer over here and they got a big buck, over there that they're, wrangling with. And this podcast has helped me walk life a lot differently. I always have tried to see people's heart, not titles and all that, but this has amplified that to a level that I can't even explain to you. Like, I'm telling you, all kinds of, attacks. And, I need to reach out to her. We had one lady whose dog attacked her and literally ripped her whole entire face off.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, her own Great Dane. And she came into my spirit this morning, so I'm going to reach out and check on her. And I'm just saying, like, those types of things. And this is a dog that she raised for years. Don't know what happened, triggered him. And literally, whole face ripped off. So I'm not at all saying that your story, your journey doesn't hurt. It's not going to feel heavy. It's not going to be doing all of that. But you understand, we are human. We're talking about human experience. Mm-hmm. And in the Bible, it already said that essentially, I'm paraphrasing. It's going to be ups and downs. Yeah. Okay, peaks and valleys. Okay, I'm just saying that. So if you live this life knowing that we are all here having a human experience. And it's gonna be some hurt. I don't care who you are, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care about none of that. And it's gonna be some hurt and some journeys. You will walk this place a little differently. And I do mean that. And this podcast, and like I said, I tell people, you see the branding, you see the nice little cute videos. This is life. This is real life for me. And this is real life ministry. Because if nothing else, I want people to come here and say, it's okay for me to sit in what I'm going through. It's not going to define me. It's not going to put any constraints, but one thing, I'm going to own it. Okay, and I'm going to tell this story transparent enough that it creates a ripple effect. I don't care if it's one person, two, that it creates a ripple effect. And that's what we do here to make sure those conversations do just that. Now, you said that you're going into your coaching business, not Beth. I read something about this, so you better do it. I'm going to come around and look and say, where is Beth? She told me on the podcast that she was going to go all in her coaching business. She needs to do that. So I think that that's a level of obedience. Can you tell me, is there some fear that you have to put to the side to walk in a level of obedience? Or is there something that you think could be a challenge that you may have in your mind for you to go all in the coaching business?
Yeah, Shanita, I think there's a little bit of both. I know absolutely this is a calling from the Lord. I have had a heart's desire to help people in some way, shape, or form. I actually have a few degrees, psychology and counseling, and it's just always been in my heart to help people. And I was in a job for several years, and I want to say 2022 is when the Lord kind of was like calling me out of that. And I was like, okay, Lord, what's that look like? And he put it on my heart around coaching and using what I have been through and been walking through to help other women. And I was like, okay, I can do that. And it's been a little bit of a slow process. Again, 23 and 24, we did walk through IVF. And I know some of the disappointment in that. I kind of pulled back from what I was doing as far as stepping out. And yeah, I kind of have this new fire in me. The Lord actually fully pulled me out of my 9-to-5 day job earlier this year. So I don't have that as, an excuse anymore. to stay where I was. So I truly am in a place where I'm like, okay, God, I really need to step out and do this. I think there is a little bit of fear, maybe of failure from maybe past things that I did not follow through with. And then I think there is a little bit of maybe a confidence issue that I'm in process working with the Lord. And that's just being real and transparent that, even though, again, on the outside, it looks like we all have it together. No, we have some insecurities too. And I can promote other people's things and I can promote things I'm a part of. But I have noticed when it comes to promoting myself, I'm a little more timid. And you probably wouldn't believe this either, but as a child, I was very shy. And I do have my moments too, where I just want to be by myself. But yeah, just kind of being a little more bold. And I'm bold with all my friends, but I just need to be a little more bold with what I put out there and just shout it from the rooftops, because I truly want to touch the people. Everyone I talk to, they always tell me, all these great things about me and how I've helped them and helped in conversation. And it's like, okay, Lord, I want to do what you want me to do. And if that's to scale this and to truly get out there and help more women, I want to do that. So I have to kind of build a bridge and get over my little things here. So that's on my list right now of really pressing in and being more bold and more forward and promoting this, because it's for the glory of God. And I want to be obedient.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I have to tell you is that nobody can promote your business better than you. Even when you scale or this thing scales, it still needs to feel like Beth. Because I tell people I am the best advocate for my business. Okay. This is not saying I want to do everything in it. I'm not saying that we're all hats. I hope we get to a place to where we do have more help and support. And I remember in my corporate career, I was managing teams and I never could figure out like how to connect. I'm like, how did I end up here? Or, managing financial operations teams. We worked in a Australian investment bank is what we were doing. I did that for quite a while. And when I came out, people were like, well, I guess she's probably going to start something like finance or tax related. I'm like, I barely knew what I was doing there. Like I got moved. Okay, I'm back. I'm like, I had a job, like a new job title, like every year and a half. Like and I always asked God, like, man, people would stand up and introduce themselves like in the bank. And they're like, oh, I've been 15 years in treasury, or, I've been 15 years in project management. I'm like, well, I'm like in a new role. I'm always in a, and I was always kind of a little bit insecure about it because I felt like I couldn't stand up and have it's strong, because these people had dedicated their lives to it, and I was like, man, I don't really know what this is going to be before, it took the turn at the end before I left. I was just like, well, I don't even know. Like, even looking at my resume, I was like, it's a lot of good, financial experience. But to be honest, there's nothing on here more than 18 months. That was my entire, I only worked for 2 companies for a total of 13 years. And in 13 years, it was 10 roles, a few at this company. So basically, it said I mastered it and moved on. That's what I would, just kind of tell myself. But no, the reality was of it. And he was teaching me then. I didn't even know it. He said, no, you know how to build people and teams. And you know how to get the best out of people. Didn't even know I didn't know what that was because I was so insecure about it, Beth. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have all this. People have had all this rooted experience. I've just been all over the place. He said, no. Yeah. I showed you exactly how to build community and teams within corporations and get the very best out of people. Didn't know it. And when I got to the end of it, I was just like, and it got very colorful at the end because I was managing a global team. We had resources in, they called it EMEA, but it was Europe, and we had a big team in the Philippines. We had a couple in South Africa. We had a couple guys in Canada. I was always thinking it's kind of different here. How am I going to bridge the gaps in time zones and culture? But it was such a beautiful melting pot of experience. And that was the first cue that something like this, I didn't know it, but it was the first cue that something like this would occur along the lines. I didn't even know why, but I remember talking to those guys across the place and it was mostly guys. It was, of course, male dominated. and really getting to know them as people. And because of that, they would come in, they would perform, and I would have the people that would be seen as the most obnoxious and the most this and that, but I can get them to do it. When I could get them to do the thing when I called them, they were still ruffle feathers. Don't get it twisted, because it was some rough people now, Beth, in there. But I could get them to do the thing and, and not be as probably boastful. And I was just wondering, I don't know what this is or but he was building it there in a place where I didn't even know. So I want to tell you that you're probably still hiding a lot of experience that you really have. I said it the same because it happened for me. And what you need to be doing is every quarter, every month, you need to write down something that, I don't care if Beth had a conversation in the grocery store that changed somebody's life or that facilitated a good day. You need to be noting that. And I tell that to even the people that I help with visibility is that nobody's going to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you did this. Mm. That's for you. That's not their job.
Yeah.
That's for you. And you have to own that. So even now, I'm going back and looking through some of my 2025 stuff, and I just told you the turbulent year that I had. Now that I'm going back through these reels and stuff and all this content, I'm like, I forgot I did that. What? I'm looking at these people and stuff, different places and events that we've showed up. And that's why I tell people, that's how I know it's him.
Yeah.
That part that has to be, because some days I'm barely keeping it together. I'm barely keeping it together for the 24 hours that we get. So you see all these things. That's why I said that part of it is him. That is the grace that he gives us to still keep operating and showing his work and grace when we can't even hold it together ourselves. So I'm just saying in the sense of that as you transition into this place of coaching, Beth, own it. Your journey, it happens specifically. You can nobody tell that story like Beth. Can't nobody tell Beth's pain like Beth. Can't nobody talk about a triumphant victory like that happened to Beth. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So once you truly step, because I already know the story, I already know the potential, but who cares if I know? Who cares? Who cares if I know? And I tell people all the time, look, when we're talking, because I just told last guest, I had a young lady that came to me, she said, I want to be just like you. I said, oh, no, you don't. I said, oh. And I say, the next time I hear you say that, I'm going to gracefully correct you now. And I said, the next time I hear you say that again, it's not going to be so graceful. But it'll still be love, but it's not going to be so graceful. And I said, I don't want you to ever tell anybody else that again.
Yeah.
From this day forward, never say it again. And I mean that. Never tell them I want to be just like you. Mm-hmm. It's not even what our Father had in mind. He made us all unique individuals. He didn't make a bunch of carbon copies. That's not even what he wanted.
Yep.
I said, don't ever say that again. I say, but from what you can say I showed up. You can say I did it with integrity, and those are some things that I really like that I want to apply to my journey. I can accept that.
Yeah.
You're going to be always coaches and mentors for me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever say it again to me or nobody else. And I mean that. I say, you may not ever have a coach, somebody tell you that. But I don't know. I say, I don't know who I am. I say, I don't put all these titles on me talking about coach and mentor. I'm just a crazy girl from Houston, Texas that loves God, got a little bit of sense, and everything else is really a bunch of random.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Everything else is like a bunch of randomness. I don't have I just told you about my work history. I don't have that's not how he designed my journey. I don't have a bunch of I've been doing this for 5. He never allows me to. But that's what he built me for. Yeah. And I would get so much flack on my team because we had this one lady and she could just do this one thing really good. And we had a lot of pressure there. Oh, she needs to be able to be more flexible. And we were working this high volume work queue that supported real-time trades. So it's no time for error. It's no time for this and that. If a trade comes through, settlement instructions have to be done in 15 minutes. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. You figure out what's going to sell. Period.
Wow.
Period. There's no room for all this extra stuff. If you don't want a trader who makes millions of dollars to come and they could cuss you out on the floor and not be reprimanded, That's the kind of culture it was.
Well,
They can say, what the F are you doing? Money is going out the door. They can say that and not be reprimanded. Okay? So there's this one lady who could do one thing very good. She wasn't what they would call, what would they say, like flexibility. And, if she got on a different task, it would kind of really, really mess her up. And then there would be a lot of errors maybe. So they would study pushing. Take her off of this and put her on this and take her. I said, no. I said, we're not doing this. We're not going to do it this way. I said, now, if there becomes a time that post this traumatic, this distress that we're in right now, that we need to have another conversation about her evolution as a worker, then we have it. You don't disrupt. You don't disrupt what's good and working in the midst of chaos. Huh? So it was that ability at that time to say, okay, no matter what's going on in this world and they crazy and I just crazy thoughts, abilities. I said, no, you're gonna stay grounded. You're gonna stay grounded to what you know that works.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be shaking. I told that man, I say, look, if you gonna come down here and cuss me out, I said, they probably gonna reprimand me. I said, well, give me your best cuss word, man. I say, what's up? Give me your best cuss word. He turned away and walked away. I said, well, give it to me. I said, what you got? I said, it doesn't. I said, I'm grounded. They hated it. I said, I'm grounded. To a true story. It don't, like, you can say the words at the end of the day. These are the resources that we have. This is the time that you have. So while you cussing me out, you taking away from the time I can use to help you. So if you want to have a cussing battle, give me your best one so we can keep on wasting time. I said, give me your best one.
Yeah.
We'll walk away. So I'm saying, you stay grounded in what you've been through, even when it looks like the chaos. You stay grounded in the source of what Beth knows and who you've known to be true is connected to the source. That's it. So I've been doing this for a long time. I just didn't know it. But and there's a lot of stuff that you've been doing a long time, and as you walk through that journey, you will see that. That's all I'm saying. That's it. I didn't plan for it to go this way. Now I want to make sure.
Well, it's that revelation that he's already equipped us, right?
That's it. That's it. That's all. And I'm not telling you like I woke up and found it out one day. Like, I was still trying to do all of that. I told you I was questioning, like, why am I just feel like I need to settle somewhere. Why? I question it all the time. And when the shift came, like, how do you even go from something like that, a long career, to doing something like it doesn't really make it's not for us to make sense of it.
Yeah.
You want to make sense of every little thing. Because I'm telling you, I left in 2020's pandemic. I left officially 21. But if you would have even told me in 2020 that today I'll be sitting and hosting a podcast, I was like, who are you talking about? If you would have told me in 2020 that you would have spoke on stage at a women's expo, like who, like, stop playing with me. Whose life are you reading? I would have fought them in 2020 over what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. If a person would have told me the exact things that would have happened. That's like, you got to have the wrong person. Like, how am I going to be able to find people to talk to me? How would I be able to even build community around something? Like, I don't have any like cool product like some of these tech guys. I don't have no cool stuff. I was like, I want to be a techie. Seriously, this is my real thoughts. I'm like, I don't have this kind of stuff. Like, man, these kids got some cool ideas. I'm like, Lord, come on, like, hook me up. Like, give me something. And he's like, I already gave it to you.
Mm.
He said, you can sit here and do this negotiation like you like to do. You say you're free from it, but you're not. You always try to negotiate. I'm not free from it. I always try to be like, hook me up with this, It never worked. It never worked. Now, I'm not saying that over time, he will bring other resources and other avenues.
Yes.
That's not what that's not who he is. He doesn't, but you got the honor. He said, why would I give you something else? You're not even honoring what I gave you. Mm-hmm. How dare you? It's like you give a child a gift and they're like, Okay, well, what's in bag 2? Or how dare you? You didn't even open bag 1 with your ungrateful self. I'm just saying it. And I'm preaching to me because I said, it's just not working. I've tried like a bunch of different things. And it's just like, and as soon as I fall back until he's like, you're going to walk the journey or you're not. As soon as I fall right back into this or fall right back into weight started lifting, I'm not even really just stressed. It just feels like it's natural. He gives me the words to say. He gives me the community. He gives me, just get, he said, I never said it was going to be easy. You can accept the gift, but I never told you it was going to be. So I'm not saying you're going to wake up one day and be like, oh, I realize I know exactly what it is. But when you do finally say yes to it, you'll look back and you're like, oh, God, dog, yeah, he actually has been trying to tell me. But it's you. It's you and your craziness. He's been trying to tell me.
Yeah.
He told me all throughout my entire career for 13 years. He didn't say that it was time to, branch, like go ahead and branch. I didn't have the tools, the resources, the courage, none of that. But he definitely showed me years ago. I can go back and find direct writings on the wall. He's told me. He showed me. And then he's going to get to a point to where, he said, I gave you, and I tell people this all the time, he gave me an umbrella of grace in my last space.
Mm-hmm. So good.
He said, look, I'm taking the umbrella and I'm moving it over here. You coming or not? Umbrella of grace has left that place. Now, I'm your father. They're going to let you stay over there if you want to, but I'm going to let them whoop you now. You're gonna feel the you can stay over there, okay? I'm your father. I love you. I will never abandon you. But there's consequences if you want to stay in that space, and this umbrella of grace has moved over there.
Mm-hmm.
So what you gonna do? So, Beth, now if I come back around and I say, where's the coaching business, Beth? And I don't see it. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Now, I want to make sure that you give people any connection points that you would like them to have, whether it's social media, email, however you want them to connect. I want to make sure you drop those here so that we can have those in the description box for our viewers. So I'll go over to you for that now.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on pretty much every social media channel. I am on Instagram. My handle is Beth C Glows. Same thing on TikTok. My website is www.bethccoaching.com. And you can find me over on Facebook as well. I've got 2 profiles. I do have my personal profile, which I do share a lot of regular content as well as coaching things. So it is Beth Cacciapalle, or you can always find me at my coaching page, which is Beth C Coaching. So yeah, I'm on all the platforms there. And yeah, I would love to connect with you. If you need to email me, it's bethccoaching@gmail.com. So yeah, feel free to reach out. I am an open book. I love to share my journey and my story, and my passion is gratitude. And so you will see a lot of gratitude on all my social media channels. So
thank you so much for that, Beth. And this is a part of our show where I cue our guests for final thoughts. I asked them to give us some final parting words for the space and really something that captures the essence of Beth. So I'll go to you for final thoughts, and I'll be back to close the show. Beth, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So before, I think we had like a weird pause. It could be connection related. But I want to make sure I cue over to you for final thoughts. This is the part we cue over to our guests to give us some great parting words for this space and really something that captures the essence of Beth. I'll give you the opportunity to give final thoughts. I'll be back to close the show.
Okay. Yes, I would just love to share with your listeners that, again, my passion is gratitude. And so I do my best to speak to the fact that you can have joy, you can have peace, you can be grateful and thankful in your circumstance, even if it doesn't look full and complete yet. So even though we are still contending and we are still waiting, there are so many things that I can be grateful and thankful for, even in my wait, even on the outside with my circumstances not looking like I want them to be. I am so grateful for where I am now. As we spoke to earlier, I am grateful and thankful I did not have my kids at a younger age, because I will be a much better mother and parent to them now than what I would have been 10, 12 years ago. And so if you take anything from this, please hear my heart that whatever your circumstance is, whatever you are navigating, I just hope that you can find what to be thankful for and where the gratefulness is, even in an unwanted circumstance or situation, and that God is still good. And if it's not good, he's not done with you yet.
He is not done with you yet. And look, I held Beth hostage for nearly an hour, and we only planned to go 30 minutes, but I never allow pure conversation to not flow when we can let it. So I thank God for the time that he has allowed us here today, and that it didn't even plunge on our schedules, because we didn't plan to be here for an hour, but that is just the flow of this conversation. And I know that it was really, really orchestrated by the one that we both love, and that is our Father in heaven. He does exactly what we need when we don't even think we need it. So I want to thank you for this moment with me, Beth. I don't take this lightly. I really don't. And I can't wait to go back and rewatch it, because sometimes I'm just so excited and full of information that I miss little tidbits, but I always go back and they say, you go back and watch all those hundreds of episodes. I do, because I love this place. I'm proud of my guests, and I don't care what you say about it. I do go back and I watch my guests. I really truly, truly love this place. And let me just say to everyone that's out there, the Her Voice Shines podcast land, I tell you, miraculous things happen when you let your voice shine. Please, please, please do not dim your light. We are all unique, and we all need each other more than what you know. So like the folk in church say, I love you, ain't nothing you can do about it. And we'll be back in no time with another amazing woman on the Her Voice Shines podcast. Until then, we're out.